So, for people who don't know me, my name is Tava and I have psoriatic rheumatoid arthritis. I was diagnosed when I was 1 year old and I had my right eye completely removed, called an enucleation. So, my enucleation surgery was about a year ago. On June 22nd, it will be a full year. So I thought, what better time to make a video and talk about my experience, how I found out I was having the eye removed, what the surgery was like, recovery, all things like that, just for people who are curious or people who are going to be going through the same thing, having an enucleation or dealing with vision loss. I thought that I would share my personal journey with it. I've been blind in my right eye since I was probably 11 or 12 years old. I had chronic uveitis and it led to me going blind at a young age. And when you've been blind for a really long time, your eye actually starts to shrink. It's called phthisis bulbi, and it's shrinking, it's deformed, it's not moving fluid around properly, and that gets really, really painful. And I didn't know at the time, but enucleation, like the full removal of the eye, is actually used to help manage that pain. I have uveitis in my remaining eye as well, and when I was getting that all taken care of, I was really regularly seeing an ophthalmologist. I remember like every couple weeks when I would have to go in for my appointment, I'd go in crying and, talking to him about how much I was struggling because of the pain in my blind eye. It was affecting my daily life. I couldn't stay up too late. I couldn't be in the sun too much. I couldn't do typical things that anybody else would do. And it was really starting to affect me. I just felt like I didn't even want to make plans anymore because I had to center my life around having this chronic eye pain. So I would go to him constantly being like, I'm in so much pain. I don't know what to do. I have tried pain meds, over the counter, stronger prescribed pain meds. I tried, icing it. I've tried resting it. The pain was consistent. It just never, ever stopped. This first eye doctor that I was talking to about this pain, and that pain went on for about a year and a half. He insisted that there was nothing that could be done. He said I could try to put my steroid drops in that eye, but that it probably wouldn't do anything because, it wasn't really an inflammation issue. And I started to feel so defeated and just feeling like, I'm going to have to live with this pain for the rest of my life. And aside from that, my eye was beginning to look deformed. It was looking unhealthy, and that really affected my confidence as well. My rheumatologist ended up wanting me to see a different ophthalmologist, someone who specializes in uveitis. So when I went to see this new doctor, this new eye specialist, I brought up my concerns about the chronic eye pain to him as well, because again, it was affecting my everyday life. I remember that day so clearly. I went there and he was examining my remaining eye, like the one I can still see out of. And I brought up to him the pain, and I was so distraught about it, and just telling him that I was feeling so hopeless about, ever being able to just live without this chronic eye pain. And he brought up to me that most people who were experiencing the same thing as me had their eye removed and it fixed their eye pain, completely. And when he told me that, I remember I just started bawling. And it wasn't even sad tears. Of course, there was some bit of being scared, and it is nerve-wracking, but mostly I just felt such a relief because, again, this pain affected my everyday. It affected everything I did. So more than anything, I was just so grateful that there was something that could be done, because I was living thinking that I was going to have this pain for the rest of my life. He ended up sending out a referral for me to see the surgeon that day, and I honestly was shocked with how quickly things happened after this. So I had that appointment. 3 weeks later, I saw the surgeon, and he took one look at my eye and, listened to my concerns about my pain, and he immediately said, yep, let's take it out. It'll get rid of your pain. I think it's a good idea. So we went ahead and booked the surgery. And I mean, I'm in Canada, so I'm expecting like, oh, it'll probably be like 6 months, a year. I'm expecting to wait a while because I mean, that's the typical here in Canada if it's not emergent. And they ended up booking my surgery for 3 weeks from that day. So in total, the process of finding out that I was having my eye removed to actually having it removed was about 6 weeks. So it was all super, super fast. It honestly didn't really give me much time to even like get super worked up about it, which is probably a good thing because I'm already really anxious about anything that has to do with my eyes. So it was definitely for the better, but still more than anything, I am so happy I got this surgery and I don't regret it one bit, and I would do it all over again. And I can easily compare the recovery pain to what I was feeling on the daily before I had the eye removed. So, the day of the surgery, I had to go to London to St. Joe's in Ontario. And I got signed in and everything. And even this, like the surgery, everything was so quick. Went to the nurse. They put my IV in. They drew an arrow to the eye that was being removed. I remember that being one of my main concerns was what if they remove the wrong eye and then I'm just completely blind. But they did put an arrow, and that honestly calmed my nerves a lot. And I did ask to keep my eye, and they told me no. But I was able to have my fiance in the like waiting room, like pre-op room with me. And I just kind of laid there. We hung out a little bit. I sat with a weighted blanket to help calm my nerves. And even just in pre-op, I only spent like 20 minutes in pre-op. It was not a long time at all. And then they wheeled me back to like the room where you go like right before surgery. So I was in there for probably an hour and a half. And that's when I started to get really nervous. I was like, eye pain's horrible. And I knew that eye pain was terrible. I remember them wheeling me into the operating room. And this is when I started to get really panicky. And I already get really anxious when I'm about to be put under anesthetic. And I just remember like the doctor telling me like, I'd be more worried if you didn't have any nerves at all going into this. And he did tell me like, we're going to put numbing injections into the socket after the removal so you'll feel okay when you wake up. And I was staying the whole night there. So I knew that at least for that night that like I'd be monitored and my pain would be managed. So I wasn't freaking out, but there was definitely some nerves right before getting it removed. But again, it was also a relief. Like I was just so happy to be having something done to help my pain because I couldn't bear to live like that anymore. And I'm going to have to make a part 2 about waking up from surgery, my recovery, and that will be up tomorrow.